Hey Brad, how's it going?
It's been bananas.
Really? Wow.
I, coming up that emergency appendectomy, I
Yeah.
was out for like 4 days, and it felt like half a year. I mean, I came
Yeah,
back
yeah,
and like everything had changed,
yeah,
and so kind of diving back into that, and then um, it's kind of coming to the holiday time here, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and it's like always by this time of the year, there's two things happening. Kind of a lot of people are kind of shutting things down, and then a lot of people are kind of cramming everything in, trying to get in before the end of the year. So
yeah,
it's a crazy time.
yeah. It absolutely is, and everything around us is accelerating. Just like just keeps on going, doesn't it? I
It
do
does.
wanna.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
like Gemini 3 feels like a month ago now.
yeah. And then like Opus 4.5 comes out. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
So
Um,
yeah, Gemini 3 had what, like 4 days in the sunshine by itself, and then Opus
yeah.
4.5 came out. And have you seen the stats coming off of that?
I've been using it the last day or so. But I haven't actually looked at any stats or anything. I I honestly haven't felt that much difference from previous models, honestly. But I've been like, I was going to tell you, I was meaning to tell you early on this kind. I am so reliant on AI now, on my um, like sort of daily work. I mean, just because I'm using it to develop, I'm using it, to learn, to write stuff, help me write stuff. I have honestly not felt like I've been winning in the last couple of days because Cursor has become unusable for some reason.
Why is
Um,
that?
I don't know, like just super slow, always errors out. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know. Like it's hard to know. But Claude is no different. Like I use Claude code sometimes, and the API falls over, and or it times out. And I have more than enough credits across all these different things, and so it's just hard to know. And you got to wonder why that is. You got to wonder, um, and sometimes the output has not been that great, to be honest, as well. I mean, I've probably yelled at AI more in the last 2 days than I have in the last like 2 months. So, you know, I guess my feeling over the last like couple of days or last few days has just been like, has been, yes, okay, I'm very reliant on this stuff and it's amazing. It's absolutely incredible when it works well. But sometimes you just don't feel like you're winning with it. You just don't. And my feeling is that the demand is just so high that is
Yeah.
why you have these issues. You have these issues, like you have APIs moving, cutting out. You got you know, and there is a lot of internal plumbing going on, right? Like Cursor, for example, they own the composer model, but all the other models they're routing. They're routing here, they're routing here, and you never know. Like maybe Anthropic cuts them off at some point because they're trying to fulfill demand for their own Claude Code subscribers or something. It's very, very interesting. And I think that's, you know, I almost feel like my mood is determined by what these big AI suppliers do now.
It's funny you mentioned not being able to get on because I had an experience. I'm usually pretty understanding about that, particularly as new models come out and there's this flood of people wanting to try them.
Yeah.
But I needed a deep research request yesterday on Gemini, and I'm a Gemini Ultra subscriber, so I'm paying $250 a month,
Yeah.
and I kept getting system is full, can't take your
Yeah.
request.
Yeah.
Okay, like if I'm paying $20 a month, I get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at this, when I'm paying $250 a month and I still
Yeah.
can't get on, that ticked me off a bit. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I got to say, I spent the weekend in an absolutely crazy rabbit hole with
Right.
Gemini 3,
Right.
and it was incredible. I mean, the stuff it did, and if you want, I can tell you a little bit of the details of it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
basically, I got down this I had this crazy rabbit hole where I decided I'm gonna try to do everything with one button, just one
Okay.
big button on my desk.
Yeah.
And I I've got keyboards, I've got trackpads, I've got all this stuff. And I'm gonna try to do everything with my footpad and that one button. And
Hmm.
I kind of got obsessed with that. And I got onto, and part of it is not just kind of stupid challenge of myself is, with suffering from Parkinson's, like typing is just, and even like moving the trackball and stuff is really hard sometimes. So
Yeah.
I got in this thing where I wanted to see if I could get everything working across my screens to just say like, move window here, and it would just move it to the other screen.
Right.
And so got in this thing where the program that can do that, I found through Gemini is this crazy add-on to a video game that somebody developed in 2009. And it's this one guy who has been maintaining it for like almost 20 years. He started in
Hmm.
2007 building it. And it's this incredible system that he's built. It's got scripting, it's got links to Python, it's got an interface you can build and record scripts, but it's got one piece of documentation, and it's the manual he's done. And I got so deep into trying to integrate it with Whisper, and Gemini is in there with me. We're banging through 5,000 lines of non-standard XML, and Gemini is finding innovations in this. It's like there's I was floored because it's not like there's training data out there. It's like this is
Mm.
a one-off app with one piece of documentation.
Mm.
And Gemini reads the documentation, reads the 5,000 lines of XML, non-standard, by the way, because Claude, I started getting Claude to look at it, and it kept coming back saying this is unformatted,
Hmm.
and so I'm in there, and it worked out a solution to something that I didn't think we were going to get, and
Mm.
it really made me think. It's like, okay, it's not like it's been trained on this. Um, And it worked out. And at one point, it says, all right, we can keep guessing on this, but let's jump over to the manual side, use the interface to write the piece we need, and then take
Mm.
that and put it back in. And I mean, it was eerie.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
making
Mm.
jokes. I mean, I've got a couple in there that it called it the Schrodinger's mic problem. Because
Right.
when you killed one program, to keep from interfering with the other, you couldn't get it back up. And the way it worked through that it was like nothing I'd ever seen.
Mm. Mm. Well, it's really just playing out what all of the top people at these firms have said, right? They have always said the models were going to get better. They were going to do crazy stuff. They were going to invent things. They were going to be able to figure out new ways of new forms of maths, new forms of doing things, and it just seems to be playing out that way. I mean, and it's happening. All really happened within the 12 to 18 months, really.
Yeah.
Um, so like it's sort of yeah, it's amazing to think that some people think this is some sort of bubble, like isn't it? Like when you're actually at the coalface and you're using these tools and you can't even use them because the demand is so high, and then when they actually work, and they're absolutely just like mind-blowingly, incredible.
Yeah.
So imagine when all these data centers spin up and you can just access this consistently, just multiple things open at once. Like what's going to be possible? I mean, it's going to be crazy. Like one individual is going to be able to do so much. Like it's just unbelievable, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just shaking my head these days because
Yeah.
one of the things it did in the midst of this is it told me when we went to the manual mode, it told me click on this, click OK. And I'm like,
Mm.
that option isn't available. And it said it should be there. And so I sent it a screenshot and it said, oh, okay, this is the problem. You're in the global profile. The thing I'm talking about is only in the local profile.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, that turned out to be exactly right. But A, how do you know that? And B, um, the thing that I realized is at that point, and maybe I don't even know if Gemini has the ability to do this. If I can show my screen and we can work together in
Mhm.
manual mode, and it can say, "Oh no, you're in the wrong section."
Mm. Mm.
That's gonna be a whole nother level of
Yeah.
learning and education.
Yeah. Well, you just think about how like they sort of turn them like computer operators, right? Like I don't even think that has even started yet. Like and just think about the compute that would be required. Like that's why you need all these data centers that are being built, right? Because I don't even use the operator stuff myself, and I'm a heavy user of AI. So you think about anyone who's using a computer eventually they're gonna want some side by side AI, like looking at your screen, just like working with you. I think that's gonna be huge, absolutely huge. Like I would love
Well,
that. I don't think it's just there quite yet. Like it's just not probably because they can't facilitate it. These companies can't facilitate the actual need.
I think it was like 3 years ago. I was at a Microsoft presentation, and they wheeled out like it was like a piece of machinery. I don't remember if it was like an engine or something like that, and they
Mm.
had somebody wearing VR goggles, and the person was working on the engine, talking through the mic, and then what they showed on screen was what the person would see through the VR goggles,
Oh yeah,
and it could basically like overlay like a
HoloLens.
virtual
Well,
lens,
that
kind of
was
like Google Lens,
yeah,
um,
yeah. Was it
on
HoloLens? Is that
top
the
of
one? Yeah,
the physical engine and
yeah,
show, okay, here's where the part goes, here's what you take out.
yeah.
And at the time, it was clearly just kind of prototype stuff. HoloLens, I think they called it.
HoloLens, yeah,
And
yeah. That seems to
um,
have been that's one of the another ones in Microsoft graveyard at the moment.
yeah, but the concept is phenomenal, and I think
Yeah.
it's going to be the way things work. Because as I said, like we were so close in that discussion to basically that thing. If I would have been able to show my screen in real time to Gemini, I think it could have just worked me through it in the exact same way.
The unlock for virtual reality, which has always had a lot of potential but never reached its potential, is the world models. That is the unlock, isn't it? Is that
Yeah.
it always was cost prohibitive to build these worlds, and if you can just render them on the fly with AI, um, that's what's going to unlock virtual reality. I think I truly do. Um,
That and
whether
a better form factor.
Yeah, whether virtual reality is a good thing for humanity, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure of that, but kind of like social media. But that is the unlock. And just think of the compute required just for that. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
insane. There's this really interesting YouTube clip that I saw of the top guys at Microsoft were with a podcaster who's become quite famous. And they were walking around one of their new data centers. I mean, this is the most incredible state-of-the-art facility you've ever seen. And one of the things that took Satya Nadella joked, I suppose, aren't I meant to be running a software company here? And he's got this like beautiful facility of like just these racks of the video chips and stuff. So yeah, it's classic, absolute classic. I mean, they are going to be a physical asset company, man. As I've been saying for a long time. And you know how I thought a little bit more about your comment a while back about how they bought the energy plant, the nuclear energy plant.
Oh, you 3 Mile Island, yeah.
I was thinking about that a little bit deeper, and I listened to another podcast as well. I actually, I would not be surprised in the next 10 to 20 years that these big tech companies become like energy companies, like energy providers. Because if you think about it, they need so much energy. And energy used to be funded by governments, local governments. But those local governments and governments are not going to benefit from well, maybe they would, but they're not going to develop the energy fast enough, I don't think, for what they need. And so I wouldn't be surprised if these big tech companies actually become energy companies. They become energy suppliers to America to the globe. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised because
You want to hear crazy thing about that?
yeah.
The first job I had, my graduate school internship, was with a the trade organization for the electric power companies in the U.S.
Hmm.
And at the time we were working on the project I worked on summer was it was called wheeling regulations. And what
Hmm.
it was the power generators would have the ability to sell their power back to the grid. And so, you know, I haven't worked in that area in, 40 years, but I know the wheeling stuff happens all the time here, and that there's constantly you're a power consumer, but you can also the next day turn around and be a power producer if your consumption is higher
Hmm.
than your intake, or your production is higher than your consumption. I would bet. My guess is right now that they're running at a negative for most of them. That their consumption is much higher than their production, but I
Hmm.
think you're right. I think it'll probably get to a point where these data companies have um, kind of peak load covered. And so in non-peak load, I'll bet they sell it back to the grid. I think you're right.
Yeah, and I just think they're going to be the only ones with the money to actually spend on energy. I mean, they are, well, they already are. They 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 already could buy basically any industry right now. Like they're so big. And I think energy is just a natural extension for them. They need it.
Yeah.
The world can do with unlimited energy. So like there's almost unlimited demand in there. So. I sometimes, because you do hear a lot of pushback regarding AI sucks up a lot of energy. Mhm. My take on that is yes, it does, and it would be horrific if consumer prices did elevate significantly because of that. But I do believe that it will encourage the production of more energy um, plants and energy providers, right? Which is a positive thing, which is a real positive thing because I mean, you hear a lot, particularly in the States, because it's well studied. Like it's notorious for like low investment in this area over the last like few decades. So I think it's like overall long term going to be quite a positive thing.
Well, I mean, one of the things too that you have to take into account is that cost per token has fallen incredibly. I mean, I remember that Mary
Mm.
Meeker report earlier in the year. Let me see.
The other interesting thing I heard on a podcast today is that Anthropic and Microsoft have done a deal for like for $30 billion of Azure credits or something over the next 5 years. So Microsoft are now basically in partnership with everyone, I think.
Yeah. That's a smart way to be, because it's like
Totally. Totally.
everybody's doing, something that okay, so here we go. This isn't the one I was thinking of, but let me just share screen real quick.
As the cost per token has gone down, the demand
Plummeted.
has gone up more, as much, like or more. I don't you need to
And you just look at that. In the last 18 months, flagship model prices have reduced by 97% cost per
in
million
the last
tokens.
18 months. Wow.
Yeah.
God, it's even
And,
just 18 months ago is just feels so far away. It just honestly
yeah, I
feels
mean,
so
it might
far
as well
away.
be
I mean,
18 years.
yeah, we were using GPT 3.5 back then, maybe. I don't know. What were we? Or was it four? Was it
Oh,
four?
yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you look at this and it's like the, you know, the usage is going through the roof, but the costs are, at the same time, falling through the floor.
Yeah.
So, kind of which one races to the end first? You just turn this
Yeah.
turn sharing off here.
Well, I think you were only looking. Also, that was like a few months ago, right? Like I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I've seen more. Ethan Malik had a much more um had a much more
Yeah. I mean, like I think we've always like thought this, haven't we? Like, it's if the price goes down, you just use it more and you just throw stuff away. You just like whip things up and you just throw it away. Because what's if it doesn't cost anything? Like, why not? Why not?
yeah,
Why not?
yeah.
Why not prototype? Why not prototype more? Why not? Like I'll give you an example. So I've been just doing just learning how to do a bit of web scraping for Help Genie. We want to sort of go out there and find manuals, and we need to go search a lot of websites. And I mean, I would never be able to do this before. Like, there's just absolutely no way. And I've been just like coding up all these experiments with AI, and and we, like the pipe and the pipeline I've been using is interesting, right? Like I go in, we go instead of going to like scrape specific data, we go and take images of websites, and then we just send it to AI. We just grab all the raw data. We then send it to another AI to structure it properly. Then we push it to our database. And so like it's just and it's so cheap to do that now. It's so cheap to do that compared to what it was 18 months ago. Like you just do it. You just do it. Like it doesn't, it might cost you like, $1,000 for 200,000 rows in your database, but that's really nothing. That would have cost you 10,000, $20,000 2 years ago. And these are the things that become possible when the price decreases by that much, right? And you just would never actually be able to do that. So like there's just all these convergences like happening that are making new things possible, and that's what we've always said that, but it's just a like really specific example of where it's impacting what I've been doing.
Yeah, that Kieran, who we both know.
Yep.
He he just wrote me this morning, and he's put together a Claude skill that is, is kind of a master scraping skill. And what
Right.
it'll do is it'll recognize the the situation it's in, and it'll call the correct tool that needs to scrape that particular page. And it's kind of like the the precision with which you can build it. I mean, you can build that to not just a generalized model, but to um, the specific sites and issues that you're having scraping. And the great thing is that, yeah, I've been using that Bright Data tool, but that's 62 tools that load up all at once.
Mm,
The great thing is you can pack the skill with everything you need, and it's only going to call the tools that it needs to pick that lock. Um,
mm, mm,
and
mm,
that the learning that occurs, and that if you loop a kind of an automatic lessons learned into the skill, then the first time it encounters a particular site that it takes a little while to figure out, the next time it's going to know exactly how to handle that site and similar
mm,
ones like it.
mm,
And
mm.
they do get smarter over time.
If you just think a little bit more meta about this, think about the cost of everything to do, like how much it's reducing to do anything like that, right? Because if you had to do that in the past, you'd have to learn. So that you'd have to spend money to sort of learn, or a lot of time as well, like money and time to sort of learn how to do that. Then to go and execute it, like it's just like there, it's a really non-obvious cost reduction, but it's so significant, isn't it? Just to actually do things that 3 years ago, like we're talking 10 times less cost, like very likely more, like, in terms of time and actual money to execute these sort of things, like that democratization and reduction in cost, it's it's just spawning. It's just spawning just like so much new stuff that's hard to even fathom and imagine. But that is what I believe, and what I think I'm seeing in a lot of what I'm personally doing, but also just extrapolating that out to basically every part of the economy. Um, it's just like I'm just trying to think like a bit more high level. Like it's just absolutely mind blowing, what that is going to mean for humanity, for us. Claude's skills are like just this combination or culmination and all these mini pieces of software that you can boom instantly insert into your workflow, boom, spawn something else. It's from
Well,
an
and there's the
evolutionary
weird
point of
thing.
view, it's crazy, right?
So when the internet came on, the big unlock was you could put all these things in one place. All the shareware, kind of marts that came up where, you could look for a utility, it would be there. And then those got to be so overcrowded that curation became really important. And
Mm,
then it was like you had to have trusted people to tell you which of these were good and which weren't.
Mm.
And now it's gotten to the point where, when Claude Skills came out, I was like saying, all we have to do now is we have to go onto a skill mart, take the skill we need and pop it in. Well, the problem is they're so easy to build in most cases. The skill marts are accruing 1,000 new skills a day. And
Yeah.
so you're back to the point where the mart is almost too big. And the
Yeah.
interesting thing is it's not curation that solves the problem now. I just build it myself. It's faster for me in some cases
Mm.
to build a new skill than
Mm.
search through the mart and the six that are there and figure out which one is best. I just say I build
Well,
my build them for myself.
I know. Well, then it just becomes your imagination which is holding you back. It's like knowing what skill you need, basically.
Yeah. But
But that,
the thing is, even when you know exactly what you need, you're looking for it.
mm.
The search time is now, in some cases, exceeding the build time, which is incredible.
Well, it's kind of like information and content, right? It's exactly the same thing. I mean, you're probably wasting your time looking through Google and searching through blogs when you can just like ask ChatGPT or ask Gemini or ask Claude now. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Um, I guess that's why Google have put AI overviews over everything because it really, you know, the equation is so obvious now. So it's so obvious. Um, it's such a landmine, or sorry, a minefield for starting new businesses, isn't it? Because like one minute you think you've got this great AI business idea, and the next minute skills shows up, and like the amount of AI spreadsheet businesses that try to start up in the last like 2 to 3 years, and skills and ChatGPT agents are just like basically destroyed those. I mean, they've got no chance now. That's
Yeah.
just that's just one small industry, but man, it's an absolute minefield for the opportunities are great, but the viciousness of capitalism is also greater. It's also much greater.
Well, and the thing it takes to actually plow new ground is the resources are enormous. That
Mm,
you think about the compute, even something like Nano Banana, which I'm saying
yeah,
something like, which is huge. It's
yeah,
like who would have the resources to do something like that fresh from the start, other than like a Google?
yeah.
It's like that's not something a small business is gonna, even if they had the idea of exactly how to do it, they're
Mm,
never gonna have the resources to match what it takes to put an idea like that in motion. And so, you know, you and I have talked. I think the weird thing about this is the road for small business is just so difficult. Um,
yeah.
in terms of coming up with something new. And
Mm,
even if you find a really clever gap between what's offered, it
mm.
doesn't mean that next week, they're not going to just incorporate that into their portfolio.
Yeah, it's it's exactly the same, um, but slightly different to electricity, water, oil. This just raw commodity that um, sort of just changes everything. And then the opportunities are just totally non-obvious, aren't they? Like they're not obvious. Like and I ask AI about this all the time, because I'm trying to think bigger and more creatively all the time too. Um, but the opportunities are just going to look so different. That's really what it comes down to. They're just not going to look like the past. They're going to look, we might be in a situation where every individual, you are literally selling software. Every individual has a different piece of software or a different experience, digitally. You're selling individual digital experiences or something like that. Where in the past it was sort of more one size fits all. That's the sort of that is the sort of depths in which things are going to get to. I actually that reminds me. Let me just share my screen quickly because I actually did have I did actually post something in on my machine about this in our community, and I just want to remind myself of what I posted. Here we go. new business opportunities in AI. So things like, okay, so these are sort of they're just totally non-obvious things, but they become possible with unlimited compute and unlimited energy, you know? So internal micro app factories for enterprises, so every business has its own sort of software suite, completely customized to them, every single thing, CRM, everything. AI integration builder, disposable apps, reliability as a service, so much new software and technology. You gotta still make it reliable,
Mm.
software still needs maintenance and stuff. Business logic orchestrator, hyper niche SaaS apps. I mean, I've been saying that for ages. Like that's huge. That is a huge opportunity. Personalized software platforms, agent maintained back office, code library marketplaces, outcome based workflows, automation, migration. I mean, these are all digital ones. These are all digital ones. But think about when you get to like the physical world, the micro factories. We'll be living in a world where you'll be able to. I mean, it's kind of possible now, right? But I mean, imagine when you have like more automated, robotic micro factories. Like, that's absolutely going to happen as well. Um, I was also thinking about it the other day. I mean, my mind just goes crazy sometimes. It honestly does because I think that this is definitely in our lifetimes probably like the biggest thing. The cognitive revolution is sort of going to change our lives more than we've ever seen. But I was thinking about food, for example, right? Like if you can get robots creating great food ultimately, eventually, right? And then you've got robotic delivery, you've got drone delivery. I mean, there's a world where you're getting amazing cuisine delivered to you every single day for every single meal. Like, I think that hyper personalization is what can become possible with all of these things culminated. Like, it honestly can.
Oh,
And
it's already there. I mean,
yeah,
that I saw there was a great episode by Mark Rober, the
mm,
YouTube guy,
yep,
and he
yep,
went to Africa, and for medical supplies, they
yeah,
have this drone network. Did you see that?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's crazy. Yeah,
it's an AI controlled, where AI basically manages the air traffic control for
yeah,
drones for medical delivery. And
mm,
I mean, that technology is there. I mean, if you watch that
yeah,
video, and it is remarkable. They've got the drones coming in, they catch them in nets.
mm,
Um, I mean, the AI catches them, and then they pull them out, they reload them, pack them, load them
yeah,
back into the kind of the available bay, and the whole thing just runs all day long.
mm,
Delivering perishable, valuable goods all over the country.
mm,
Um, Complete, and the people it's not fully robotic in the sense there are people, still loading the drone and stuff, but I
mm.
was like, wow, I didn't even know we were there yet. Um,
Yeah, I
you know,
mean,
so
a lot of this technology exists out there, but I guess you can't say that it's real unless it's widely distributed, right? Like that would be my
right,
sort of take. Because like none of that exists in New Zealand, for example. And
right,
I know that in San Fran and Arizona, they have Google Waymo cars are working
right.
well and they're amazing, right? But they're not in New Zealand, so they're not. It's not widely distributed yet. So it's not real. But you'd think that AI is going to accelerate a lot of this stuff, which I think yeah that will become even more hyper personalized. Everything will be hyper personalized, and um, it's hard. Things are very convenient in a lot of cases now, but I think that there's still a lot more convenience that could be created.
Well, there's a couple of things. Thoughts are flying fast and furious here. Your point about electricity, I want to go back to because I think this is different in the sense that, let's say I take the electricity and I invent like the greatest blender anybody's ever seen.
Mm,
I don't have to worry that my, Pepco is going to start selling blenders.
mm,
That my electric company is going to start selling. But if I create something awesome that I do with OpenAI or Gemini, and I put it out there and it really catches, it is very likely that that product gets incorporated into the set of tools and services they offer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
we just
totally.
see it
Or someone
over and over.
replicates it, or someone replicates it in 2 days, you know?
Right. And so I think that the competition and the scale for AI is even different than I agree that it's kind of at a utility level now, but the utility company is actually watching what you do with their their product and competing with you. It's we've never seen that.
Totally.
And
Totally.
the
Well,
the
maybe
other thing,
maybe the moral here is that the digital space that has been created over the last 30 years is just not as good a economic opportunity now. As maybe the economic opportunity and value generation that was possible before it's just too competitive. So the margins just decrease everywhere, and maybe everyone flips back to physical world. Maybe physical is the new value generation. It's using the new AI capabilities to create better physical experiences or physical products or something like that. I mean, maybe that's just
yeah,
a general theme, you know?
or it may very well be that businesses, small business become so quick and nimble that they're not offering like a particular thing, but that they're basically what they're offering is the ability to kind of help you, kind of pivot and adjust so much quicker because
Mm,
it's kind of like there is so much we talk about, so much opportunity for individuals to advance and create opportunity on the ability to kind of keep up with this this kind of rapid pace and always kind of be out in front in terms of what you can do or how fast you can do it. um and I think there's got to be a kind of a business equivalent to that individual, like a really nimble business that
mm,
can kind of come in and quickly kind of help you get to that place where I think in bigger organizations it's hard to do. It's back to your scale question. And so, in some ways I don't know, it's not well thought through, but there does seem to be a space between the individual who's, at their desk kind of reaping the gains of all this and the 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 larger organizations having trouble doing that at scale. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's at a divisional level or something that you've got people who can come in and just kind of work with that smaller group and really get them. I don't know if business would give that, kind of give that autonomy up. But
mm,
there was another thing that I think what we're seeing in software, and the reason AI feels so fast now is that I just saw something that for the software engineering bench mark, which is, I think, a really highly regarded benchmark to the extent any benchmarks are that highly regarded.
mm,
Opus 4.5, within the 2 hour time limit of Anthropic's hiring test, scored
mm.
higher than anyone ever has on that hiring test. So think about that. The
Yeah.
best engineer that Anthropic has
Mm,
took that test and just got beaten by something that they can now deploy infinite numbers of.
mm.
And that is, I think that's why, we're kind of feeling like every week these things just get way better. It's because they
Yep.
do.
Yeah.
Because if you have an infinite ability to hire someone who's better than the best individual you've ever hired,
Mm.
what can you do with that? What can you do with that?
Yeah, I know. That's why it's just basically a new paradigm. We're entering into a new paradigm where everything, if you were sitting, so say you were around before electricity arrived, and then all of a sudden electricity arrived. I mean, it's just almost impossible to think about the permutations of like what that would turn into, right? I mean, obviously that happened a lot slower, but it's kind of the same here. Like if you've got this unlimited cognitive power that you can plug into, like where is the opportunity? What are the next big industries? What are the next big things? It's not. I have a few ideas and stuff, but it's hard to figure out. I mean, I don't think anyone's really truly figured it out. It's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be super interesting. It's the same. I mean, you could even look at it like the internet or mobile, for example. When mobile sort of came in, did we really expect that Uber was going to be a thing? Did we really expect that, you know, um,
I
Spotify was
ever
going to be a
wonder why I
thing?
need a camera on my phone.
Totally. Did we ever think that YouTube, TikTok was going to be a thing? Like these things just like emerge, you know? And there's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of that. One of the definitely online. I mean, this has always been the case, but like distribution is just it's essential, right? Like there's particularly digitally, there's only a few distribution points out there right now, and this is what I've been saying for a few weeks now, a few months, is that I think some new distribution points are going to open up, like OpenAI, like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, various other sources or Cursor, Lovable. Like these become distribution points for opportunity. And who knows what that will become? Who knows what that opportunity will be? I mean, my expectation is it will be large, right? Because you will have 800 million ChatGPT users maybe seeing your product that they can click and they can use. So, my expectation is that new distribution points are going to drive a lot of the future innovation and the future opportunities. And those things were never clear. They were never clear for the last 6 to 12 to 2 years. They were never clear, but I think they are becoming clearer and will become more so over time. And I think just new distribution points will open up. Like, I think, robots will be distribution points. Like you'll be able to send things to make the robot smarter or something. I also think, yeah, new physical products could be, we're so dominated by our mobile phone. Like, there, there is opportunities for other physical products. Like there truly is that will become distribution points. So who knows? Who knows? But I'm sure it will happen. I'm sure it'll happen. Just like we are accelerating what we're doing online, I think there's, the ability for a new physical product company to create their own app that connects to their physical product. And, there's just acceleration happening everywhere. I mean, I even saw a tennis ball machine. I saw a tennis ball machine because I'm into tennis that sort of the other day that follows the ball around and basically has a match with you on the other side of the court, and it's using AI vision and then it's catching, it's running over to catch the ball that you hit back, and then it's sending you another one from. So like, there's acceleration happening in the physical world as well because of what's going on in the digital world with AI, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I like those Boston Robotics videos, with the dancing robots and the dogs,
Mm,
um, and just seeing kind of how much those have advanced in a really short time. And
yeah,
I think goes back to this, it's this whole fast takeoff thing, which is that as AI gets smarter and is able to build better AI,
yeah,
that the curve just goes, straight up the edge of the chart. And
yeah.
that is absolutely the way I feel. Yeah, I feel like you and I are kind of, it's like right in the center, in the sense that software development, engineering, data analysis, like that is where these things are being trained to the hilt.
Mm,
And
mm,
so, if you're in that field, you're seeing an acceleration that probably most other fields are not yet seeing.
mhm,
But I feel like software engineering in particular is the one that Anthropic is focused on. And so, you're seeing this enormous acceleration because of the focus and the quality of the models building better models.
mhm.
But that's bound to happen in the if they're that good on the software engineering, the robotic engineering has got to be close behind.
Oh,
And so
totally,
when you've
totally.
got, when you've got basically robots learning from robots that have been built,
Mm,
um, I fully expect, I don't know anything about robotics, but it just
mm,
seems natural to me that the same that same accelerated feedback loop as we get past a certain point of capability just accelerates almost immediately. And
Yeah.
the physical stuff is harder to scale because of distribution, as you say. But um,
Mm.
I I can't even I when people start predicting time frames now, it's like you might as well just be totally throwing darts with a blindfold on.
Yeah.
Um,
I think there is, I mean, this is just from very small anecdotes, but I saw a YouTube short the other day of this Chinese factory developing robot arms, and they were basically selling these arms on these robot arms on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatever, which is just crazy. But they had like thousands of these things just lined up in this factory, just ready to ship out. I mean, there is an acceleration going on there too,
yeah.
and they're plugging in the latest AI models into these things, and they're doing crazy stuff like welding and folding and like like just for these arms. It's just crazy. Like these micro factories will probably be a thing. Like micro factories with these robots will absolutely be a thing. Like the cost the yeah, it's hard to know the economic opportunity and all that, but that's absolutely going up. Like absolutely, it's crazy.
Well, and if you take it way down to the micro level, that um, I think we're seeing this incredible change happening, and it's going pretty, I think, pretty unnoticed, which is that when you can kind of close the full agentic loop in an analytical process, so you can grab data in, you can work with it, you can then
Mm,
have AI perfect it, evaluate it, and revise it, and then um, you can take that and then send that data back out. It's like then there's no limit at all because you
mm,
can iterate until you get exactly what you want. And
yeah.
it's interesting because yeah, I've been really immersed until recently with a couple of distractions in the work that Plotly's been doing,
Mm,
and they keep turning out new versions, and they are so close to the point where you'll have that full ability to put code in, take code out,
mm,
and once that gets completely closed in terms
mm,
of having like whether it's MCP or APIs that you can throw a skill at.
mm,
Um, it's on the road. I know they're working on it, but the things they've been rolling out, I've been watching. I've been playing with, and I think as soon as that loop gets closed, we are off to the races. That I think it changes everything we can do about visualization analysis because you
mm,
can now you can now be kind of cycling your ideas and iterating them with AI
mm,
outside the visualization process and then kind of peek at it. It's almost like yeah, I remember as a kid kind of you had these things where you could put a card in and see what it would look like, kind of in pseudo 3D. And
mm,
it reminds me of that in a weird way because it's like you can play with ideas and kind of Claude code back and forth and kind of work through iteration. And then all of a sudden you can just see that visually and interactively and
mm,
then have it say, okay, we're close, but I want to I want it to look like this and act like this. And you can
mm,
just pipe it back in and AI works to get it right to that point. And then you just check it. And it's like, I think we are, I think we are a fraction away from this whole thing changing.
mm, mm, mm.
I
Yeah,
really, I
yeah.
really
And
do.
so someone's got to build the systems. People have to build the systems to create and to um, secure that loop. To make it work efficiently. Like, yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity. It certainly is for a period of time, for sure, for sure. Um, when you were talking about Plotly, I was just, just thinking, what the hell is Microsoft been doing? Honestly, like, these guys are innovating like crazy, and probably have a tiny fraction of the resources, and it just doesn't feel like much of anything's going going as well, in the Microsoft universe. I mean, it's I I watched one of Greg's videos about he does these Fabric Fridays. Have you watched one of these videos?
I'm behind. I'm behind on those.
Oh
I
my God,
usually am
it's
right
just
up to speed.
hilarious. It's, he doesn't get that many views, but I watch these ones just for actually like a laugh. But he basically goes through Reddit and goes through all the Reddit threads of people just saying how absolutely garbage Fabric is, and it's got all these like issues and stuff. Ah, it's funny. But
Let
I
me
guess
just
the contrast is what I'm talking about. Like, they could be just doing some like crazy innovation that everyone is just loving, and it's just the exact opposite. It's really quite sad.
Yeah, the thing that is, it gets back to your thinking big, concept a couple weeks ago, which
Yeah.
is there are things that I never even considered we could do. And so I never thought about them. And then when I saw that explore mode, like one of the things that is really cool that both Python and R have is they have a gallery of basically all the visuals, all types of visuals you can make with that, the ggplot2 engine. And the thing that's incredible is to think about you now can basically apply any of and there are hundreds of them. You can apply any of them right to your data and just
Yes, that's right.
have,
Yeah.
and it's kind of what that explore mode is, but it's actually gone a little bit further in terms of it. The AI has done some thinking about what are some of the questions you might want to answer,
Mm, mm,
which
mm,
I find fascinating. But
mm,
yeah, for me, it's like I am I'm looking at some of the stuff coming out and I'm thinking, I never thought of that. And it's like I
mm.
never thought of it because I never thought you could do it. And now that I'm seeing things that I never considered because I didn't think they were possible,
Mm.
that to me tells me I got to stretch that and build that muscle of thinking, if there were no constraints, what would I want?
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, I've been, I actually think I've been putting out some of my best content like lately. I've really been on a bit of a roll. Like, I put it in our internal community, the builders at Enterprise DNA, and I also sometimes throw some of the ideas out in social media. Like, some of my better thinking, like my better ideas, it doesn't seem to fly, which has been my you know consistent annoyance over the past like couple of years. But my code is abundant. My code is abundant. Theory and thought process is just so true. It's so true. Like, I cannot shout that any louder. Like, it just opens up so many opportunities for the enterprising individual. It's just unbelievable. It is so unbelievable. Code is abundant. Code is leverage. These are the things that I've like actually been sort of saying, and I think that they're so on point. Like, they are. I just wish they would just get wider distribution and better traction. Maybe I've just got to work on my own personal distribution of my ideas. But I just think it's so true. I think it's so true. It's exactly what you're just saying, right? Like, it just opens your mind to think bigger about what is even possible. Like, this is how you get to the edge of like what AI is enabling, and you then get to see it. You see, oh my God, I can do some crazy stuff now. Like, I can actually individually do some things that I would never have even dreamt of 12 months ago.
Um, yeah, I've noticed I really the content has been great, and I've noticed actually there's a feedback loop that's happening, which
Mm,
is you're taking some of those things you've thought about, bring them into this discussion, we're kicking them
mm,
around, then both of us are going out and actually throwing those ideas into the models and systems we're working with, and then coming back the next time and talking about, well, here's what happened.
Yeah.
And and also I think there are things that I know I'm taking from the discussion where I'm like, oh, I never even thought of doing that. Let me take it
Mm.
back. But the key in that, I think, is you have to be doing. That it doesn't click for me until I see it on my screen with my data.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's so many of the ideas that come out here, I think, are the product not of us reading, think pieces, but
Mhm.
of sitting in front of our own data and seeing how those capabilities are changing by literally by the hour sometimes,
Yeah.
um, in really significant ways. And
Mm.
the thing that I did this weekend, I don't think would have been possible a month ago. I don't think the models we had then
Mm.
were as good and fast and able to extrapolate between data they I can't imagine how they had.
Yeah.
And when you see that real live in your situation, it
Mm.
prompts a lot of thinking. And I often know how Gemini works, but now I
Yeah.
know it can do some stuff I didn't think it could do. And now how can I use that and replicate it and leverage that against other problems I'm having?
Mm.
Um, you know, the, the doing part just there's for me there's no substitute for it.
Yeah. Well, so 12 months ago, I remember, I mean, it was probably like October last year, I found Lovable, right? And I was playing around with Lovable. So in 1 year, I am now, I am in the process of developing my first mobile app. I'm working on a mobile app. I've created this crazy web scraping. I mean, it's just unbelievably complex, but works super smooth that never would have been able to do that. We're also, with the help of my developers, admittedly, developing a marketing tool that you can actually use within the ChatGPT environment. It's crazy. Like content lead, you can use in ChatGPT, and it just shows up in ChatGPT. It's amazing. Um, I mean, AI voice. I mean, we've got, I think, one of the most advanced AI voice applications out there, probably anywhere right now, like built on top of 11 Labs and a few other Twilio and a few other technologies. Like, this is just in 1 year. It's just insane, absolutely insane. And that's how I think you and I can talk with a little bit of authority. We have like a lot of backing, like because we're actually doing it. Like we can see it because we're actually doing it. It's so funny. Like when I go on YouTube and there's quite a lot of like famous AI people now who say Gemini comes out and they're like Gemini just kills 1,000 startups or something. They just clickbait things. But like I don't think they've actually built anything meaningful. Like they're just sort of like they're just sort of the newscaster of the AI age. But I think we have a bit more depth. It might not get as many clicks, but it feels like we have a lot more depth because we're actually like right in the weeds of doing actual real stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because the only stuff I watch on YouTube now is the people who are actually building things.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I like Nate Jones so much because he both has the big picture sense, but he gets in it and the stuff he builds is like the skills he's building are way better than the ones I'm building.
Right,
It's like,
right.
his PowerPoint stuff is just lights out. And I'm
Mm,
learning a lot from somebody who can build at that level. And
mm,
but again, it all comes back to doing, it's like, taking
yeah,
apart what somebody's built and saying, how did they make theirs so much better than mine?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and we're using the same tools.
Mm,
And
mm,
then you can really see the difference where the human skill matters.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I am this close to starting a new YouTube channel called Full Stack AI. I've been thinking about it for a couple of months now, and I didn't really want to get back into the content creation game, but I'm just so close. I'm so close to doing it because I just need to find the right format. I need to find the right format because I don't think anyone wants to sit through 2 hours of me developing with AI and yelling at AI and getting annoyed and then having some progress. So but I think there is something there for like what you can do at the edge of these tools, you know. But I'm just trying to think how you'd sort of wrap it up. Like Nate Jones has a really good format, but in a lot of cases he's sort of he's ideating, and I kind of maybe want to just show something like more tangible. And so maybe it's like maybe the idea is that you need to film yourself for a couple of months and then you sort of mash it all together at the end on specific projects or something. Like you actually have to do some quite heavy duty um, film editing or video editing of like lots of different things. I mean, some people do this. Some people do this. Like, Mark Rober might do a project for a month or something or a couple of weeks, and he'll sort of mash it all together. Maybe
Yeah,
that.
the other thing that that I would tell you is the Gemini Ultra version has some expanded capabilities, even into things like Notebook LM.
Yeah.
And what you can do in terms of just throwing some really high level stuff in Notebook LM and saying, make me a 5 minute clip on how to do this precise, really specific, difficult thing. It'll do it.
Mm,
And the visuals are getting really good. The voice is great. And so in a sense, I've kind of got my own custom YouTube channel that makes me videos for the stuff I need to know.
mm.
And
Yeah.
that
Do you
that
still
is
post on do you still post on your YouTube channel?
I've never been that. I mean, here's not the way to sell subscriptions on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Um, I often don't even bother putting my LinkedIn videos onto my YouTube channel. I
Right.
should, and I think what I was thinking about is building a skill that'll do it for me.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
that'll create the thumbnails. It'll post to my channel, fill out all the forms that you have to fill out because I just have no time and interest in doing that. And
mm,
so I yeah, there was the time when I people were asking saying it would be really nice if you had a durable place for your videos. But the thing I'm finding now is things are moving so fast that a video that for me was, cutting edge stuff 2 months ago, I'm
mm.
like, I'm like, that's not even worth watching now. That's not even the
Think,
way I do
think,
it.
think how hard it is to have run an education platform when
Yeah, yeah.
you zoom
Well,
in.
I got an offer the other day to write an AI book, and I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was flattering, but I couldn't think of a bigger fool's errand at this point than trying to write something on a book publishing schedule that moves on a daily basis.
I know. I know. I mean, if you're writing an AI book over the last 6 months, you're talking about, I don't know, ChatGPT 4.0 or
Right,
something.
right.
It's just crazy. That's why content is in general like way harder in this space than it was years ago, isn't it? Because you create a piece of content and boom. That's why yeah, that's why blogs have been crushed. What the education opportunity is in the orchestration layer. It's teaching the orchestration. That is undoubtedly the opportunity. It's just not the
Yeah.
micro learn this formula, learn that formula, learn how to do this, learn how to do that, because that's just the lowest hanging fruit for AI, basically. Like, but orchestrating it all together, creating an amazing product, thinking bigger, like these are the things that I think truly can be still be taught and need to be taught all the time.
I would agree to a point, but in a way, it's like learning to play a sport by watching it. Even if you're watching it, and even if what you're watching is not just people at a high level playing, but somebody
Mm,
really who knows what they're doing, kind of breaking it down, skill by skill, motion by motion.
mm,
Um, you're still going to get out on that court and you're going to suck. You might suck less than you did if you had never watched those videos. But until
mm,
you get out and start swinging a club or a racket or, you know, doing whatever, there's a limit, I think, to what, at least for me, what makes sense to take in until you start putting out. And and that gap gets smaller and smaller. And so,
Mm,
I think it goes back to what we've been saying for, for the 5 years we've been, interacting, that you just got to get in and start doing it.
yeah.
And once you do that, kind of having great things to watch and people to rely on and things that push you, that makes all the difference. I mean, what I've gotten out of this interaction and, others where people are really pushing me to think and do things outside my comfort zone, that is invaluable, but not until you get out and start doing it yourself.
Mm, mm, mm. So that, I had this other insight the other day. I mean, maybe it's not even an insight, but I think there's this huge emerging thing called the experience economy. I'm calling it the experience economy. I mean, this is probably not that news to some people, but I think people want experiences. They want these experiences in the physical world. And just some anecdotes is like, and maybe you've heard of this as well, but you've heard these things as well. But things like run clubs, for example, are like really
Hmm.
popular now. And wellness retreats, I hear like are just insanely popular, you know. And I'm just like, I'm thinking, why are these things so popular? And I just think people just want experiences. Like the digital, the digital world just doesn't satisfy people as much. Like social media is social media usage is non-positive in a lot of ways. And then people are out there searching for these great experiences and these things to maybe they're doing these experiences to post on Instagram or TikTok. I don't know, but like people want experiences, and I even think in my own life, like, yeah, I want experiences. I want to go and play tennis around the world. I want to go and do high rocks. I want to go and do all this. I want to do experiences too. So it's kind of like a new thing, I think. And maybe it's more my generation than other generations. I'm not sure, but experiences seems to be a real trend, you know?
I, I think so too. And for me at least, it's the run club or whatever it is, the group activity. And I find myself, kind of craving that sort of group social activity far more than I used to. And
Mm,
I think a lot of it is that the work is becoming more solitary. And so I
mm,
find in my non-work time, I just crave that personal interaction. So whether it almost doesn't matter what the group activity is. If I'm with a group of people that I enjoy, that's
mm,
providing me something I don't get.
mm, mm,
That
mm.
for me at least, I used to get it through work. To some extent.
Yeah,
Friends at work, talking, eating lunch, and now I work at home, and it's very much me and the computer, or maybe me on a Zoom call for a bit, but
yeah,
um, it's a pretty solitary thing, which I enjoy up to a point, but when I'm done, it's like I just want to get out and do something with my friends, and
yeah. Well,
because
I guess with the trend, I'm thinking, well, AI is just going to make that even worse. Like, right? Like, I mean, all I'm doing is I'm dealing with AI all day, every day. So
right.
it's just going to accelerate. It's just going to mean we want that more. That's my expectation, is that the world will want that more.
I totally agree.
Mm,
I mean, it's like there are days when, I'll go the entire day, and other than my wife, I won't talk to another person. Um,
yeah. Yeah.
and
I'm literally just talking to AI pretty much half the day, three
Yeah,
quarters of the day. It's me talking to AI, and I mean that's just going to be everyone. I mean, it probably isn't in a lot of cases. I mean, we're a little bit unique where we don't work in a big office or anything, but
right.
um, yeah, we do joke. Because I spend a bit of time at the tennis club. We think the tennis club is the new church because we all the families around this area we all go to the tennis club like on a Sunday morning
Yeah,
or a Sunday, and we all go hang out, and all the kids play, and it's like this is the new church. And I think that's probably similar. No, that's just for tennis, but there's similar things for pickleball. There's similar things for all
that's
those other
huge
things.
here.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
huge here because I think again, it's exercise, which is great, to get out. But I think more than that, it's just being with people.
yeah.
It's just
Maybe it's just the
that.
reverse of social media, isn't it? Like social media just like dragged us all into the digital world too much. And now this is just like you're seeing a reversal happening. Now everyone wants experiences.
Well, it's funny you mentioned pickleball because I think kids are in front of a screen, so much.
Mm,
Yeah, we have friends who, they go out with their two kids and they just play doubles pickleball and they rotate, who's
mm,
on which side. And
yeah.
it's they say it's like the time when nobody's on a screen, they're all just interacting. And
Mm,
I think that, if you want to talk about the thing that AI will never be able to do, there it is.
totally. Oh, we're really big on getting out and doing stuff with the kids. Like I just see nothing positive in kids sitting on devices and social media. Like that's just my true belief. Like I even watch what my eldest son, I catch him watching absolute garbage on YouTube, and I'm like, no, we're not watching this. We're not what we're getting out there and we're doing stuff. Um, I'm big on that. I'm big on that. And don't think yeah. I think AI is making it worse. It's actually making it worse, particularly like a lot of the content that gets put on these platforms.
Yeah.
We I don't know if you get this on your feed that much on YouTube, but man, there is just garbage everywhere on YouTube for kids. Like just everywhere, just like AI voices, AI imagery. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. Um, so you got to be quite careful. You got to be quite mindful of what they're watching.
Yeah, the only thing I got on my feed is other nerds talking about AI. And my wife shares my YouTube channel, so it's nerds talking about AI and dog rescue. That's the only thing on our feed.
Well,
Um,
I have a real mixture because I watch all my AI videos and then I go down rabbit holes where I went down ancient Egypt the other week and I was like right down that rabbit hole and then I get these kids song videos and stuff. It's great. It's quite hilarious actually. And then I catch Ashley watching some reality TV dribble as well. So
you got a different feed than I do.
I guess everyone has their junk food content, don't they? Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, I mean, we have our love let's say love hate relationship with Microsoft, or I do at this point in time anyway. But did you see it? And I think they've finally I actually think there's a sign here that they've finally figured out something. They have created Vibe Power Apps. So they have normal Power Apps and then they have Vibe Power Apps. And I don't know how good it is, but I think that they should have done this with Power BI 2 years ago. This is exactly what I said that they should have done with Power BI, and I would be somewhat confident that this is what they will do, is they will have a new interface for Power BI, which is AI first. And I always said that they should do that. And it's interesting that they have done it with Power Apps after, being so behind, being a year behind Lovable and all these other companies who have absolutely crushed it in that space. But they finally are using the brands that were incredibly effective for them over the last 10 years to push some of the new innovations that are going on. So I'm somewhat hopeful that that will move into the Power BI space, but who knows? Who knows?
Well, let me
There's
let me ask you a question because I wondered this. I don't use Power Apps. I never did. Is there anything you can do in a Power App that you can't just do in a Claude skill? I mean, I'm kind of like, why are
No,
people even
no,
using?
there's nothing. I mean, it's probably as soon as Lovable came out, I knew Power Apps was redundant. Basically, I knew it was because I tried to become an expert at it many times. It was just way harder than what everyone always used to say. I was okay. I could do some stuff, but it required just so much learning to actually create something meaningful. And Lovable just made it so damn simple, right? Um, but in reality, I mean, I don't even use Lovable that much anymore. I'm
Right.
just in Claude Code all the time. So, but there'll be other innovations that they can bring in and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's an enterprise product, right? So it's got the enterprise label on it, the enterprise security label, all this kind of stuff. So, that's why it will still be relevant. It will still have a place in the market, I think. Um, but no, I mean, there's nothing that it can do that none of these other tools can do. No.
I mean, I suspect what I can do in Claude Skills is a superset of what you can do in Power Apps, because the no code aspect is imposing some limitations.
Yeah.
This is kind of what I've been talking about visualization, which is the minute
Mm,
you make no code, you're imposing the restrictions of that block. That visual that you put out there can only do so many things.
yeah.
And
Well,
and
I
so
guess my point is that Microsoft, I think they stuffed up. They've stuffed up in running away from these brands and trying to create new things with Copilot and things like that.
mm,
They should have just extended these brands, these great brands that they had built up. They should have extended the Power Platform into the AI first era for Power Platform, like just continued on. But they said, nah, we're going to Copilot. We're doing everything in Copilot. Everything's going to be Copilot. And now they're reversing. Like this is what this I guess this is my assessment is that they're reversing because it's not going that well. And they're probably going to be too late. I mean, the reality is, right, it's just so hard to differentiate now. It's so much harder to differentiate a product now because AI can just write it, right? Like AI can just create it for you.
yeah, and this is kind of why I've lost interest in that, is that I don't I have no axe to grind with Microsoft. I'm just not interested. It's like
Mm,
everything Power BI does at this point is it's still constrained by its. Yeah, I mean, and they're making progress. And absolutely no doubt. There's an MCP server that just came out at a time when I'm talking about how MCP is kind of on the wane. But still, it's like they're moving in the right direction. But
mm,
it just doesn't interest me, because it's like when you're in the all code world and you can do anything, and
mm,
then just kind of use the visualization as an augment to that it's not a
mm,
constraint. It's just
mm,
it's a way that kind of lets you best leverage that kind of all code, everything is on the table environment. It's like that is remarkable. And in a sense, I think the thing that the Poly folks have right is they know if you say you can do anything, it's like we're like, well, I don't know, I don't even know what that means. It's like I didn't even think that I could do that. And it's like it's providing guidance rather than limitation.
mm,
And
mm,
I
mm,
love that, because it's like everything that I'm doing in the all code world is like now it's I'm the limit. It's
mm,
not, how do I make Power BI do this thing that I want it to do? It's
mm,
what can I conceive of that will help understand my data better?
mm,
And it's like if I can come up with that idea, I can visualize that now. And so what
mm,
it's helping me do is it's taking all that expert knowledge and all that that training and capability, and it's come back to me and saying, well, here are some ideas about things you could do with this that you haven't thought of. And it's
yeah.
like that helps me.
Mm, mm. Well, look, I guess I mean, I totally agree. My, I mean, I got really annoyed at the start of the year, and a couple of posts that got a lot of kickback. But I have proven to be right, I think. And I said at the time that Power BI was the most amazing brand with the most amazing brand equity, and all they should be doing is innovating in another screen with Power BI brand on it that you can just do one click over from where you are now. But they just, well, they just went in a completely different direction. They're thrusting everyone into Fabric, which is a
Yeah.
convoluted mess and has continued to be. Copilot is another one. Like, it's just a confusing mess. But my feeling is that they're reversing. They're reversing that, and that Power Apps is a sign. And then maybe they will include the like what Plotly is doing. Plotly are doing all the innovation. Maybe they will actually finally put that into Power BI instead of running off and doing all these other things. I mean, look, there. they're a $3 trillion company. They got a lot going on there. It's very hard to, probably get anything done there, honestly. So, it's not easy, but I just wanted to make the point that I guess if I was to summarize, I just wanted to make the point that I think I was right. And I think I was right. Um, so but look, they're still massive and they will continue to be massive. It's just um it's kind of like they're so big, they're like a government that you always just there's always something to whinge about. There's always something to like be annoyed about.
Yeah, these days it's like my time is just spent kind of like figuring out, okay, now that I can do anything, what do I want to do?
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, exactly.
it's kind of like it's like when Spotify came out, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I can listen to anything now. What am I
Yeah.
going to listen to? Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's almost overwhelming. And
Mm,
it's why I'm always really happy when like a very specific problem comes my way because I'm like, okay, I can drill down and do that.
mm,
It's kind
mm,
of like, okay,
mm,
what's your most important problem? What's the data question that you most want to answer? And I used to
mm,
do this experiment with thought experiment with the people I worked with. Say, think about if there were no constraints. What answer would you want? What question would you want answered? And it's coming to the point where it's like the magic box thought exercise is not that far off. The things we can do ourselves that even 2, 3 months ago were not possible. It's like it's forcing me to kind of ask a whole nother level of question. And
mm.
there are times I am a pretty good data analyst. And there are times I sit there and go, wow, I am not I am not asking a robust enough question for the abilities we have in front of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, imagine if you're an amazing app developer, how many apps you can build now. It's it's just crazy, isn't it? Like if you were amazing at app development or something, I mean, just think about how much bigger you can think around apps that you can build and that you can get out into the world. I think there'll be this hyper niche trend. I mean, I think this is obvious actually. Hyper, hyper, hyper niche. Things that never were possible in the niches and the absolute niches will become possible. They will truly
Yeah.
become possible. Um, and we might find that we actually get more apps on our phone or more things that are useful for us, to us, for things that we haven't even thought of, that just make it insanely easy.
I think that's a good place to put a marker down and
Yeah, sounds good.
come back
Sounds good.
come back in a week.
That was good. That was good. Got a lot. I think I got quite a bit off my chest, maybe in that one, and
Yeah,
out of my
yeah,
mind and off my chest.
it was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I say we went way over what I thought we would, but I mean, I think it comes out as authentic. Now I'm kind of floored by what you can do now. I mean,
Mhm.
we're just doing things that every day I'm like, wow, I didn't know we could do that.
Well, we've got maybe our next chat should be think big. Let's come back with think big ideas. Like actual
Yeah.
concrete ideas of like think even bigger than what we're thinking now. Like what could you do? What could you do as a full stack AI professional?